Hello, students. Welcome back. My name is Prerna, and today I will start chapter 2 of class 8 science. And our chapter name is Microorganisms Friend and Foe. Okay, so in this chapter, what we will study, we will read about the microorganisms, how microorganisms are helpful, and how these microorganisms are harmful, how these microorganisms affect us, okay, and how these microorganisms affect the environment. So these points we will discuss in this chapter. See, this chapter will be in two parts, and this is the first part, okay. So let's start. Yeah. So our question is, what are microorganisms? Microorganisms are so small. The organisms which are so small that we cannot see them with our eyes. Okay. The organisms that are so small and can only be seen under a microscope, the organisms that can be seen under a microscope only. Okay, we need a microscope to see them, otherwise we cannot see the microorganisms. The microorganisms are present everywhere around us, in the air, in water, but we cannot see them. Okay, we need a microscope to see these tiny organisms. Okay, so that's why these organisms are called microorganisms. Micro means very small, okay, that can only be seen with the help of a microscope. So the organism that can only be seen with the help of a microscope are called microorganisms. Okay, so now we will see the types of microorganisms. You must have listen the word bacteria, virus, okay, fungi, okay, bacteria. I'm sure you have listened. So bacteria is a microorganism. You have listened the word bacteria. You know what is bacteria, but have you seen bacteria? No, because you cannot see bacteria with your naked eyes. Okay, you need a microscope to see a bacteria. So bacteria is a microorganism because we cannot see it with a with our naked eyes. Okay, so microorganisms are classified into four major groups. There are four types of microorganisms if we will divide. So these groups are bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and algae. These are bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and algae. So there are many diseases that occurs because of bacteria or fungi. Okay, you may have listened about those disease, like if I will talk about the tuberculosis, TB, okay, that occurs because of bacterias. Okay, certain type of bacteria. You must have heard about some skin diseases. Skin diseases occurred because of infection of fungi. Okay, so protozoa, you must have heard about malaria. Okay, malaria occurred because of protozoa, that is plasmodium. Plasmodium is a protozoa that is the cause of malaria disease in us. Okay, so there are four broad categories of microorganism. These are bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and some algae. Okay, algae we have discussed in first chapter. What is algae? These are tiny green plants that have chlorophyll and then can make their own food. And where you can see algae, these are found above the stagnant water surface. Okay, you can see green patches on the pond, on the stagnant water, over above the water. Okay, on the surface of the water, that is algae. Those green patches are the tiny green plants. These are called algae. If you will see algae, those green patches under a microscope, then you will be able to see those organisms. Okay, so four major groups are there. These are bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and algae. Next, now you have heard about the virus. Virus are also microscopic. ठीक है, Virus also can be seen with the help of microscope only. These are also microorganisms, many tiny organisms. Okay, they however reproduce only inside the cells of host organism. Okay, what is the difference between virus and other microorganisms? See, bacteria, fungi, protozoa, algae. If we will talk about these microorganisms, they can survive everywhere and anywhere, in the air, in water, everywhere. Means they can survive outside a host or inside a host also. They can multiply anywhere, they can reproduce anywhere. But about virus, if we will talk about virus reproduce only inside the cells of the host organism. I told you what is host is the target organism on which another organism lives. Okay, so that organism which lives in or on the body of other organism, that is called a parasite. Okay, and the body on which a parasite live is called a host. Okay, so if I will talk about the virus, any microorganism I can talk, I am talking here about the virus. If virus is living outside the body, okay, outside the body of any organism, okay, if it will start living on the body of a person, okay, so that person is a host for that virus, and that virus is a parasite. Parasite are those organisms that take their food from other organisms by living in or on their body, right? So microorganisms, some microorganisms are parasites of their host. I hope you have understood this concept. The organisms that derive food from other organisms, okay, and by harming them, those organisms are called parasites. And from the organisms which are giving food to them, those organisms are called host. Okay, so now we are talking about virus here. So what is special about a virus? Virus reproduce only inside the cells of the host organism. Outside the host organism, it has no existence. It cannot reproduce, it cannot divide. Okay, you know, by reproduction, any microorganism divides into 2, then into 4, then into 8. Like this, organisms divide. This process is called binary fission. The process of division of microorganisms are binary fission, or the organisms divide by multiple fission, in which an organism divides into more than 2. Okay, and next process of reproduction in them is formulation. They can also divide by forming the spores are like tiny seeds. Okay, so here we are talking about the virus. So virus can only divide, can only reproduce inside its host, the organism in which it lives. Okay, it can only reproduce there. Outside it cannot reproduce, it cannot divide. Okay, so host bacteria, sorry, host organism for a virus can be a bacteria, can be a plant, or it can be an animal. Okay, so virus can attack bacteria also, it can attack plants or animals. Okay, so common ailments like cold, you must have heard about cold, influenza, that is flu, and many most coughs are caused by virus. Viral fever, viral disease, you must have heard, cold, influenza, coughs, these are all because of infection of virus. Some deadly disease like polio, chicken pox, these are also caused by virus. Okay, disease like dysentery, malaria, these are caused by protozoa or protozoans. And if we will talk about typhoid, TB, okay, these are the bacterial disease, these are caused by bacteria. Okay, so I hope you must have understood about my concept about all these microorganisms and how these viruses are different from other type of microorganisms. Okay, so let's see, Here you can see the pictures of some of bacteria, some of algae and other microorganisms. If we will see picture 1, this is a picture of bacteria and you can see the shape of bacteria. Okay, this is a spiral bacteria. Okay, next is a rod shaped bacteria. The shape is like a rod. Okay, so we will call them rod shaped. Okay, in the next picture you can see picture of some algae. So first is Chlamydomonas, it is an algae. Next is Spirogyra, it is also an algae. Next is protozoa, amoeba is a protozoa. Paramecium is also a protozoa. Next is fungi, bread mold, that grows on the bread. Okay, that is called bread mold, it is a fungi. Penicillium, it is also a fungi. And an antibiotic is also prepared with the help of penicillium, that is called penicillin. Okay, Aspergillus fungus, it is also a fungus. Okay, next are the viruses. Here two types of viruses are shown. Okay, so you can see in virus some spikes are shown. Okay, so this from these spikes you can recognize these viruses. Okay, so if you can see this virus attacks bacteria. Okay, virus is a microorganism and it is attacking other microorganism. Okay, so this virus is called bacteriophage. Why bacteriophage? Because it is attacking virus, it is a virus. Okay, the name is bacteriophage. By the name, please don't confuse that it is a bacteria, it is a virus. Bacteriophage is a virus. Okay, so these are the examples of some microorganisms. um, so the next question is, where do microorganisms live? Okay, microorganisms live everywhere. There is no place on earth where microorganisms cannot live. Okay, they can survive under all types of environment. Very hot climate, very cold climate, they can survive everywhere. So they can survive under all types of environment. It can be ice cold climate to hot springs. Okay, either it is very hot, too hot, or it's too cold, they can survive everywhere. Okay, they can survive in deserts also, in marshy lands also. So they are also found inside the bodies of animals including humans. Okay, these microorganisms live inside our body also, and body of other organisms, other animals also. So I'm saying these tiny microorganisms exist everywhere. Okay, you cannot imagine a place where these microorganisms cannot exist. So these exist everywhere. Some microorganisms grow on other organisms while others exist freely. I told you in the previous slide about the parasitic mode of nutrition. Some microorganisms are the parasites. Parasites means they are obtaining food from other organisms by living on or inside their body. So these type of microorganisms grow on other organisms, and there are some microorganisms that do not follow this parasitic mode of nutrition. They exist freely, they do not need any host. Okay, so next is microorganisms like amoeba. I told you it is a protozoa. It can live alone, while fungi and bacteria may live in colonies. Okay, we are humans and we humans live in colonies, right? We cannot live alone. Okay, see, we are living in groups, we are living in our family, we are living with our family, we are living in our society. Okay, so we are living in colonies, we are living in groups like this. Some microorganisms, if we will talk about fungi, bacterium, these microorganisms live in colonies, they live in groups. And if I will talk about amoeba, it is a solitary microorganism, means it live alone. Okay, so now we'll read about friendly microorganism. Okay, see, there are many type of microorganisms and some are useful for us. Okay, some are helpful for us in many ways and some are very harmful for us or for the environment. So now first we will discuss about the friendly microorganisms. Friendly means helpful, we can say, or those organisms that help us. Okay, how microorganisms help us? we'll see. So microorganisms are used for various purposes. There are many ways microorganisms can be used. So how these microorganisms can be used, we'll see. So the first point is they are used in the preparation of curd, bread and cake. Okay, you must have eaten curd, bread and cake. So these things are prepared with the help of microorganisms. How? You know curd, how it is prepared? We mix curd in lukewarm milk, right? So you know that a bacteria that is called lactobacillus is found in the curd. Okay, so that helps in setting off the milk into curd. So there is a role of bacteria in preparation of the curd, and bacteria as a microorganism. And if we'll talk about bread and cake, to make them rise, okay, that we prepare bread and cake with dough. So to make the dough rise, we need yeast. Okay, and yeast is a fungi. So fungi is used to make bread and cake. Okay, next point is they are also used in cleaning of the environment. Okay, I told you about the decomposers. Decomposers are those microorganisms which eat the dead and decaying organisms and clean the environment. Okay, so microorganisms are helpful in cleaning the environment. For example, the organic waste can be anything. It can be vegetable peels, kitchen waste, remains of animals, feces, fecal matter. Okay, so these organic wastes are broken down into harmless and usable substances by the bacteria. Okay, these type of bacteria are called decomposers because these decompose the dead and decaying matter and organic waste into harmless and usable substances. Okay, so this is how bacteria help in cleaning the environment. Next is bacteria are also used in the preparation of medicines. Okay, you must have heard about the antibiotics. Antibiotics are drugs that are made from bacteria and fungi. Okay, so bacteria are also used in the preparation of medicines that are antibiotics. Next, in agriculture, they are used to increase soil fertility by fixing nitrogen. Okay, in the first chapter, we have learnt about the nitrogen fixation process and how rhizobium is a bacteria. Okay, again, it is a microorganism. How it helps in fixing the nitrogen and to increase the fertility of soil. So here also bacteria helps. Okay, so to increase the soil fertility, which microorganism helps? Bacteria. Okay, so we'll see all the friendly uses of microorganisms one by one. So first is making of curd and bread. How curd is made and bread is made? See, curd contains several microorganisms. Okay, if you will see curd, a drop of curd under a microscope, then you will see many tiny creatures. Okay, under the microscope, these are the lactobacillus bacteria. Okay, what is the name of the bacteria that is in the curd? Lactobacillus. And what is the role of lactobacillus? It promotes the formation of the curd. Okay, it helps in making of the curd. Why and how it helps in making of curd? What it does, it multiplies in milk and converts it into curd. Clear? So bacteria are also involved in making of cheese, pickles, many other food items, and an important ingredient of rava idlis and bhaturas is curd. You know, while preparing rava idli or bhatura, we add curd in the dough. Okay, curd is added in the dough. Okay, why curd is added and which microorganism is present in curd? It has lactobacillus bacterium. Okay, so it helps in fermenting the dough. Okay, we make rava dosa or we make rava idlis, so curd helps in fermenting that dough. Okay, so we can easily prepare the idlis or dosa, whatever we want to prepare. Okay, so here an activity is given. See, take half kg flour. Flour can be atta or maida. Okay, add some sugar and mix with warm water. You have to take half kg of atta. It can be wheat atta or maida. So you have to add some sugar in it and mix it with warm water, and then add a small amount of yeast powder. Yeast is a fungi. Yeast powder is made from fungi. Okay, so we'll add a small amount of yeast powder. Okay, and need to make a soft dough. Okay, we'll make soft dough out of that. What do you observe after 2 hours? After putting that dough, kneaded dough, 2 hours, you will observe something. So what you will observe, that the dough has risen. Okay, it has increased its volume. Okay, you can see from this picture. This is the picture of the maida in which we have added the yeast powder and kneaded that powder. And what you will observe after 2 hours, this one, here you will see that the dough has risen, it has increased its volume. Okay, so how it increased its volume? See, yeast reproduces rapidly and produces carbon dioxide during respiration. We also respire, we also breathe, and what we exhale carbon dioxide, okay, from our nose or mouth. So in the same way, yeast also produces carbon dioxide during respiration. Okay, so when yeast is mixed with the maida or with atta, then bubbles, it will produce carbon dioxide, and then the bubbles of gas fill the dough. Okay, the bubbles of carbon dioxide gas will be filled in the dough, and the volume of the dough will increase. This is the basis of use of yeast in baking industry for making breads. Okay, so this is how the yeast is used. So now you have understood the role of yeast, how yeast is used to increase the volume or to make the dough rise, to make bread, to make cake. Okay, next is commercial use of microorganisms. How microorganisms are used commercially? Commercially means in large quantities, when we are producing something in factories in large quantities. So that the word we use is commercial. Okay, if we are making something at home, okay, and if we will make that something in small quantity, right? If we will make that thing on a large scale for a large population, so that will be commercial. So how microorganisms are used commercially, we'll see. Microorganisms are used for the large scale production of alcohol, okay, wine, and acetic acid. Acetic acid, the other name of acetic acid is vinegar, that is used in pickles. Yeast is used for commercial production of alcohol and wine. So to produce alcohol and wine, what is used? Yeast is used. And how it is used? Yeast is grown on natural sugars present in grains like barley, wheat, rice, crushed fruit juices, etc. Okay, you know, to produce wheat, or we have to grow yeast, right? So we need yeast in large quantities to make alcohol and wine. So firstly, what we will do, we will grow yeast. And how yeast will be grown? So it will be grown on the natural sugars. Natural sugars are found in barley, wheat, rice. Okay, these are the grains in which natural sugar is present. So on these grains, yeast is grown and on a large scale, and that's how yeast is produced, and it is used in the production of alcohol and wine. Now we will see how alcohol is produced with the help of yeast. Okay, so now we will see the production of alcohol. So what you have to do, we are doing an activity here at our home. Okay, so take a 500 ml beaker filled with 3/4 with water. You have to take a beaker that is of 500 ml, half a liter, and you will fill 3/4 of this with water, and then we will dissolve 2 to 3 teaspoons of sugar in it. Okay, we have taken the water, 3/4 of 500 ml, then we have dissolved 2 to 3 teaspoons of sugar in it. Okay, now add half a spoon of yeast powder. Okay, this is the main product. So what we will do now, we will add yeast powder, half spoon of yeast powder to that sugar solution. Okay, now we will cover it and put in a warm place for 4 to 5 hours. Okay, we'll put that in a warm place for 4 to 5 hours. After 4 to 5 hours, we will smell the solution. You will find the smell something different. That smell will be the smell of alcohol. Why the smell of alcohol? Because the sugar, that was a sugar solution, right? So the sugar has been converted into alcohol by yeast. Okay, by the action of yeast on sugar solution, it has converted that sugar solution into alcohol. Okay, and the process of conversion of sugar into alcohol is called fermentation. What is it called? Fermentation. Okay, process of conversion of sugar into alcohol by the action of yeast is called fermentation. What is fermentation? The process of conversion of sugar into alcohol by the action of yeast is known as fermentation, and this process of fermentation was discovered in 1857 by Louis Pasteur. Okay, by Louis Pasteur. Okay, so now we will see the medicinal use of microorganisms. How microorganisms are used in the field of medicines. How we can prepare medicines from the microorganism, and which type of medicines can be prepared. So the medicines that can be prepared with the help of microorganisms are called antibiotics. Okay, so the word is antibiotics. The source of these medicine is microorganisms. These medicines kill or stop the growth of disease causing microorganisms. So how these antibiotics work? If we take antibiotics, so these antibiotics, what these antibiotics do, they will go in our body, and what they do in our body, these antibiotics, they will kill the microorganisms present in our body, or they will stop the growth of these microorganisms in our body, the microorganisms which are causing disease in our body. Okay, so the antibiotics will kill all those microorganisms that are present in our body and that are causing disease. And these days a number of antibiotics are being produced from bacteria and fungi. I already told you that antibiotics are produced from bacteria and fungi. Okay, so these are antibacterial drugs and antiviral drugs, sorry, antifungal drugs, antibacterial drugs and antifungal drugs, and these are known as antibiotics. And examples of antibiotics are streptomycin, tetracycline, erythromycins. These are the commonly known antibiotics which are commonly used by doctors. Okay, so what are the uses of antibiotics? We will see. Antibiotics are used to cure infectious diseases. Infectious disease means the disease that are caused by infections, means the disease which are communicable. Communicable means the disease that can spread from one person to another. Okay, so these are called infectious disease. So these infectious disease are cured by antibiotics. Okay, and antibiotics are even mixed with the feed of livestock and poultry to check microbial infection in animals. You know, there are dairy animals, poultry animals, so microorganisms also live in those animals also. Okay, so to protect them from disease, these antibiotics tablets are mixed in their feed. Okay, so to protect them from any microbial infection. Okay, and they are also used to control many plant disease. Microorganism also affect the plants. There are bacterial, there are fungal disease that occur in plants. So to protect the plants from these disease, antibiotics are used. Okay, so now what is written here? In 1929, Alexander Fleming was working on a culture of disease causing bacteria. ठीक है, see, in 1929 what Alexander Fleming was doing, he was working on a bacterial culture. He was working on a bacterial culture. Suddenly he found the spores of a little green mold in one of his culture plates. This little green mold is a fungus. See, he was working with bacterial culture. He was having a bacterial culture. Suddenly fungus start growing there also. See, little green mold, that is a fungus that also start growing with that bacterial culture. Now what happened, he observed the presence of mold prevented the growth of bacteria. So he was having different bacterial cultures. Okay, so in one culture he observed that fungus started growing. So the culture in which fungus started growing, the bacteria growth stops. Okay, so the culture in which fungus was growing, bacteria's growth reduced or it was ultimately stopped. So what he observed from this, okay, he observed that this green mold or this fungus, presence of this fungus killed the bacteria or the stopped the growth of bacteria. So this way antibiotics work. So it also killed many of these bacteria. The fungus killed many of the bacteria. So what he did, he prepared penicillin. Okay, he from using that fungus, that green mold, he prepared an antibiotic that can kill bacteria, and that antibiotic is known as penicillin. Okay, and it is important to remember that antibiotics should be taken only on the advice of a qualified doctor. You cannot take antibiotics by your own. You have fever, you thought it is an infection, then you will take antibiotics. No, you cannot take antibiotics by your own. You need a prescription for that. Okay, you need a qualified doctor, prescription of a qualified doctor for that. Why you need a prescription? Because also you must have you must complete the course prescribed by the doctor. See, you have to take antibiotics only on doctor's advice, and if doctor give you antibiotics for 3 days, then you have to take these medicines for 3 days. Okay, you have to complete the course. You cannot take it for 1 day or 2 day then leave. Okay, you have to complete the course. If you take antibiotics when not needed or in wrong doses, see, if you have not consulted the doctor and if it is not needed by your body and you are taking the antibiotics, or you are taking it in wrong doses, because for taking antibiotics you should have a prescription and you should know the timing, you should know with which tablet it is to be taken. Okay, so if you are taking these antibiotics unknowingly, you are taking in these antibiotics in wrong doses, then what will happen, it will make the drug less effective when you might need it in future. uh, for example, suppose now you have fever, so you thought it is an infection and you have taken antibiotic that was at your home. Okay, you have taken the antibiotic without prescription, but it was not needed now, and if you will take antibiotics this way in wrong doses, then what will happen in future, when you will in need of that antibiotic, that time that antibiotic drug will no longer affect your body. Okay, it will not affect. Okay, so antibiotics cannot be taken without prescription. Okay, because it will be less effective when you will need it in future. Okay, and also antibiotics taken unnecessarily, if you have no need to take antibiotics and you are taking these. See, antibiotics kill bacteria, kill microorganisms. Okay, and if you are taking these unnecessarily, then what will happen, these antibiotics may kill the beneficial bacteria in the body. In our body there are some bacteria that are beneficial for our body, and if you are taking these antibiotics unnecessarily, then these beneficial bacteria can die. Okay, so antibiotics however are not effective against cold and flu, as these are caused by the virus. See, antibiotics are effective for only bacterial and fungal disease. It is not effective for viral disease. Clear? So if you have a cold or if you have a flu, you cannot take antibiotics, because these antibiotics will not work for any viral infection. Clear? So in case of any bacterial or fungal infection, you can take antibiotics, right? But what will you do if you will be infected with a virus? then which medicine you will take, because in case of any viral infection these antibiotics will not work. Let's see what we will do in case of any viral infection. So now the word is vaccine. Here we'll learn what is vaccine and how it is prepared, how it is effective for any viral infection. Okay, vaccines are used against any viral infection. So what is vaccine? Let's see. See, if dead or weakened microbes are introduced into a healthy body, the body fights and kills them by producing suitable antibodies. Okay, see how our immune system works. If any foreign particle, it can be bacteria, it can be virus, it can be a fungi. ठीक है, see if these foreign organisms enter our body, so what our immune system does, it produces antibodies to kill that foreign material, that foreign bacteria, that foreign fungi or virus, whatever it is. Okay, so whenever a microorganism enters into our body, that microorganism, we will name it as antigen. Okay, any foreign particle that enters our body is termed as antigen. Okay, so in response to that, our immune system of our body will produce antibodies against it. So what these antibodies will do, antibodies will try to kill that foreign particle, and it will kill that foreign particle. Okay, so it will no longer be effective in harming us. So that foreign particle will be killed by the antibodies that are produced by the immune system. So this way our immune system works. See, this is the basis of the vaccine, how a vaccine works. So to make a vaccine, what we do, dead or weakened microbes are introduced in a healthy body. These dead or weakened microbes act as a vaccine. Okay, some microbes are weakened. The word we use is attenuated, means these microbes are made weak, or we kill the microbes, and these microbes are introduced in a healthy body. We introduce these weakened microorganisms into the body of a healthy person. Then the immune system take it as a foreign particle, as it is not harmful, but immune system will recognize it as a harmful foreign particle. Then what immune system will do, immune system starts fighting with that particles, that those dead particles, that those dead microbes, and it will start producing antibodies to kill those foreign particles. Okay, and these antibodies remain in the body. Okay, see, immune system has a very sharp memory. Okay, if an organism enters into our body, immune system produces antibodies. Okay, and if the next time, suppose in after 10 years or 15 years, the same microorganisms enters into our body, so immune system remembers that it has the antibodies for that organism. Okay, so it will remember those antibodies, and so those antibodies will work against that organism. Okay, this way our immune system works. So in vaccine, dead or weakened microbes are introduced in a healthy body, and the body fights and kills them by producing suitable antibodies. Now our immune system has produced the antibodies. Okay, and it will store it in the system. Okay, so now antibodies will remain in the body, it will be stored in the system, and we are protected from the disease causing microbes. How? If now a virus, a live virus, if it will attack our body, now we have the antibodies already stored in our system. Okay, so these antibodies will fight with the virus and it will kill the virus. Okay, so several diseases including cholera, tuberculosis, smallpox, and hepatitis, these all disease can be prevented by the help of vaccination. Okay, by giving vaccine to the body. These days vaccines are made on a large scale from microorganisms to protect humans and other animals from several diseases. Okay, and this vaccine was discovered by Edward Jenner. Okay, and the first vaccine was produced for the disease of smallpox in 1798, and that was discovered by the scientist Edward Jenner. It was a doctor. Next is increasing soil fertility. Microorganisms also help in increasing the fertility of soil. How? I told you about the nitrogen fixation, in which some bacteria that lives in the soil helps in fixing the atmospheric nitrogen. Okay, so this way, um, rhizobium bacteria that are living in the root nodules of leguminous plants that helps in fixing up of the nitrogen, and these bacterias live in the root nodules in the symbiotic relationship. Okay, they have a symbiotic relationship with the roots of the plant. Symbiotic relationship, you know, that in which the relationship in which both the organisms are benefited. Okay, means in this case of rhizobium bacteria, bacteria is providing nitrogen to the plant, and in return it is having the food prepared by the plant. So how microorganisms increase the fertility of soil? Let's see. Some bacteria and blue green algae are able to fix nitrogen from the atmosphere to enrich soil with nitrogen and increase its fertility. Okay, these microbes are commonly known as biological nitrogen fixers. Okay, so this is the picture of blue green algae. So it is a biological nitrogen fixer that fix the atmospheric nitrogen for the plants. Okay, next is cleaning the environment. How microorganisms help in cleaning the environment? See, some microorganisms are there which helps in cleaning the environment. These microorganisms are called decomposers. So here is an activity. Take two pots and fill each pot half with soil. So what you have to do, you have to take two pots. Okay, this is pot A and this is pot B, and you will fill each pot with soil. Okay, you will fill each pot with soil. Okay, so mark them as A and B. Put plant waste in pot A and things like polythene bags, empty glass bottles and broken plastic toys in pot B. So in this pot you will put the organic matter, that is plant waste, vegetable peels, anything you can put. Okay, and in pot B you will put the inorganic matter. Inorganic matter means polythene bags, you can put glass bottles, broken plastic. Okay, so you have to put these two pots for 3 to 4 weeks. So after 3 to 4 weeks you have to observe both the pots. So what you will observe, you will find that the plant waste in pot A has been decomposed. Okay, because pot A we put organic waste. Okay, organic waste has been decomposed by the action of microorganisms, by the action of decomposers. So the organic waste has been decomposed. Okay, the plant waste has been converted into manure by the action of microorganism. Okay, the nutrients released in the process can be used by the plants. Again, see, this manure can be used by the plants. Okay, and this manure has nutrients. Okay, so these nutrients will be helpful for the growth of the plants. Now if we will see the pot B, in pot B the polythene bags, empty glasses, bottles and broken toy parts did not undergo any change. Why? Because the microorganisms could not act on them and convert them into manure. This is the inorganic waste. So microorganism cannot act on them. Okay. So decaying plants and sometimes dead animals disappear after some time. If you will put a banana peel on the soil, on the ground that is not concrete. Okay, so what you will observe after some days, you will not be able to see that banana peel because it will disappear after some time. How? And this is because the microorganisms decompose dead organic waste of plants and animals. Okay, only organic waste will be decomposed, inorganic waste will not be decomposed. So it will disappear after some time, means it will be decomposed, it will be converted into simple substances, and these substances are again used by the plants and animals because these nutrients will be mixed up in the soil and plants roots grow in soil, so these plants roots take up those nutrients and use those nutrients. Okay, and whenever animals eat those plants, those nutrients will be transferred to the animals. This way the nutrients the nutrients are used by the plants and animals, okay, that were added by the decomposers. So this way the microorganisms can be used to degrade or decompose the harmful and smelly substances and thereby clean up the environment. Okay, right, clear? So next, this is the end of this part. So we'll see what we have learned from this part. So we'll see some important words. First word here is algae. Algae are the microorganisms that contain chlorophyll. Okay, these are the microorganisms that contain chlorophyll that can make their own food. Next is antibiotics. Antibiotics are the drugs that are made by the from the use of bacteria and fungi. Okay, antibodies are these are the proteins that are produced by our immune system to fight against any infection. Next is bacteria. Bacteria is also a microorganism. Fermentation is a process of conversion of sugar into alcohol by the action of yeast. Fungi is also a microorganism and it causes many skin diseases. Lactobacillus is a bacteria that is present in the curd. Next word is microorganisms. The organisms that can be seen only under a microscope are called microorganisms. Nitrogen fixation, the process of fixing up of nitrogen, atmospheric nitrogen, by the action of rhizobium bacteria. Okay, this is called nitrogen fixation. Protozoa is also a microorganism. Rhizobium is a bacteria that is helpful in fixing nitrogen. Vaccine, what is a vaccine? When dead and attenuated or weakened microbes are introduced into our body and our body produce antibodies. Okay, so this is called vaccination. This process is called vaccination. Next is a virus. Virus is also an organism that can only be seen under a microscope. And what is the specialty of virus? That it will reproduce only in the host plant. Outside it will not reproduce. Okay, yeast is made from the fungus. Okay, yeast is a type of fungus. So let's see some important points now. Microorganisms are too small and are not visible to the unaided eye. So to see them we need a microscope. So they can live in all kinds of environment, ranging from ice cold climate to hot springs and deserts to marshy lands. Okay, microorganisms are found in air, water and in the bodies of plants and animals. Microorganisms can be unicellular or multicellular. Microorganisms include bacteria, fungi, protozoa and some algae and viruses. Though different from above microorganisms, these are also considered as microbes. Okay, viruses are quite different from other microorganisms because they reproduce only inside the host organism. Okay, some microorganisms are useful for commercial production of medicines and alcohol. Some microorganisms decompose the organic waste and dead plants and animals into simple substances and clean up the environment. So some microorganism helps in cleaning of the environment. So students, that's all for today, and next part will be uploaded very soon. And if you have any doubt or any query, you can write to me in the comments. And I hope you have liked this video. So if you have liked this video, please hit the like button. So thank you all. Bye bye, take care.